today I'm going to show you guys how to get a sick gated reverb and gated delay. Let's go! Hey, hope you're all doing well. So I watched a video a few months back on Antiton's and some companies released a gated reverb. I was like, ooh, that's a bit fun. Essentially what happens with a gated reverb is every time you play, reverbs and delays will follow along with what you're playing, but as soon as you stop, as the name suggests, the gate closes, reverbs and delays are cut off. So you can play with big ambience, and then when you stop, there's nothing, and it doesn't spill over. So it doesn't get in the way of your drum fills and other guitar parts and singing and all that kind of thing. Now, it's not necessarily the sort of thing I'm going to use all the time, but there might be specific songs and situations where the song might call for that kind of thing. So I thought, can I do this in my Axe Effects? And obviously, yes, you can. It's pretty cool. Let me just show you again. Now, this is the Rig Dry. Now this is the gated delay and reverb back in. These pickups are pretty hot, so every once in a while I'll not quite mute things properly and it will spill just that little bit more because, like I said, it does respond to the input of the guitar. And how that's happening is I'm using the envelope follow. Most of you would be familiar with this kind of technique. And so what I'm doing is I've got it mapped to both the mix on the delay and on the reverb. So if we just watch the mix here on the reverb, when I play, as soon as I stop, it's back to zero. Pretty cool. So before I show you the settings that I'm using, I've got over here the same reverb and delay to more or less the same settings to show you how big this reverb and delay actually is. So here on the delay, I've got a panning delay, just quarter notes. Not a lot of feedback, but it's the reverb I've got at 8 seconds there. So it's quite a big reverb. Let's just look at the reverb first. So these are the settings. I've got the envelope follow, click and select in there. So the minimum value I've got set to 0 because I want it to be completely gone when I'm finished playing. And the maximum at about 50%. Now that tends to take it to roughly 30-40% on the actual mix knob there. Attack straight away because I want it to hit straight away. And release 10 milliseconds, so just a little bit of sort of natural sounding gateness there. Now you can see this sort of slope happening here because I found, leaving it at the default settings, I found that when you stop playing, it tends to drop off and get to 0 a lot quicker than what I would like it to. So to show you, watching the mix knob there, so it's not too bad, but it's dropping every once in a while down to about sort of 16, 15. I think the muting obviously is having an effect on that as well. It's not so much the mid level that you need to adjust, but more so the slope. So when it gets to that mid section, it's going to sort of hang around in this area just that little bit more. So when we play, that's roughly where I want it to stay. And then I finish and it drops off. Now watching the mix knob, so there was a couple that would have dropped down, but it was a little bit more consistent around that 25 to 30 mark, and that's where I want it to be because I want the reverb there the whole time. Obviously the mix level comes down, you don't hear it as much. I want to hear it so it's up. And I did the same sort of thing here on the delays. I adjusted the mid ever so slightly, probably not necessary. We'll bring it back to 50. The max level is around 50% again, and the slope's all the way down. So again, watching it there. Now watching the mix knob. Nice! So let's now adjust this release time on the delays just a little bit. So now when I play, obviously the release of that delay is going to come down, or the mix of the delay is going to come down a lot slower. We now mix that in with the same level of reverb. I think that's a really cool and unique way to use those reverbs and delays to get those really big ambient sounds, but not have them linger on and get in the way of the rest of the band. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button because there's a lot more to come. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. See you next time.